Okay, hello everybody, this is Will. Now I'm going to do a sort of tutorial video on how to add objects into Farming Simulator mods, because quite a few people have sort of asked me how to do it, especially is it Archie Simpson. So yes, it's just sort of a tutorial video to show you how to do that. Now there are a few things that you're going to need to be able to do this. First of all, you're going to obviously need a mod to edit, so for that I've chosen this, the Case Puma 160 quad track. Now, this is before I've done any edits to it, so this isn't my modded version. And then you're obviously going to need some objects to put into there, so I've got the John Deere Dulux steering knob from fs-uk.com, which you can see here. Let's go back to there, sorry, I just downloaded them. I'll put the links in the description for these if you're interested. And this, the tractor edit pack, which has got loads of different things like air horns and lights and warning signs and that kind of thing. So I'll put the links in the description for them. But the most important thing that you're going to need is Giants Editor. Now Giants Editor is the thing that any mod has to go through in it to be able to get into the game. Now if you don't have Giants Editor, you can actually find it in your Farming Simulator folder, because it comes pre-installed. Well, it doesn't come pre-installed, but it comes with the game, and you can install it by going to wherever your Farming Simulator is installed. So in my case it's in my main hard drive or SSD, program files, x86, Farming Simulator, and then if you go into SDK here, I think it's one of these, you just click them and it will start installing it. But if not, you can go to the Giants Editor website or whatever. I'll probably put a link in the description for that, and the most updated version will be there, so you won't have to do any of this. Okay, so now that you've got your mod, which will be in a zip file, and your downloads might be in a zip file as well, mine are, what you're going to want to do is unzip them or extract them. Mine's going to fill over there, right, I'll just put them underneath so you can see. So if you then extract all of these, it'll make life a bit easier. Right, so there you go, I've put them all underneath so you can see. So this is my mod, the Case Puma 160 quad track, and then these are the objects that I'm going to put in them. Okay, so what you're going to want to do first is open up your mod folder. And it's opened up there for some reason, sorry, on my other screen. Now yeah, this is all the data for the mod is contained in here. Now if you look at this, the one with the, this is called the i3D file. This is the i3D file for the actual vehicle, and that's what we're going to be opening to, you know, add objects and things. Now what you're going to want to do first is open up, no, hang on, let me just get, yeah, okay. What you're going to want to do is copy these, which are the folders of the objects, so Control C, and then just paste them into this folder, into the mods folder. Okay, so there you go. So now what you're going to want to do is you can either open Giants Editor and then do File, Open, and then find this i3D file, or if you've already got Giants Editor installed, just double click on it and it should open in Giants Editor. Okay, now that this is open, what you can do is to move around, hold down the left Alt and a mouse at the left mouse button and move left and right, and you can move the camera left and right. If you want to zoom in and out, hold down the left Alt button and press the right mouse button and move the mouse forward and backwards, and that will zoom in and out. And if you want to move around, you can hold down left Alt and both mouse buttons and move the mouse around, and you can move around like that. Okay, so those are the basic controls of Giants Editor, so that you can at least move around anyway. What we're going to be doing first, I think, is installing the John Deere Dulux steering knob. So what we're going to want to do is move inside so we can see what we're doing. Ooh, maybe a little bit too close. There you go. Now what you're going to want to do to open the file is go to File and then Import, and then let's no, is it on desktop? Make sure you find the actual folder. So I believe it was that one, Case Puma 160 quad track. Yeah, there you go. So this is that folder here. So now what we want to do is open up the folder with the steering knob in it. So that's i3D, that one. Basically you just open up that i3D file. And that's now imported it into this model. But as you can see, it over here on the left hand side on this scene graph, it is outside the vehicle folder. Now what you want to do with that to make sure that it goes inside that folder, otherwise it won't appear in the game. So what you want to do is highlight that, like I have done, just by clicking on it. Then if you go Control X, it will cut it. And then if you press onto the vehicle folder, it selects everything. If you then do Control V, it will paste it inside right at the bottom, which at the moment isn't where we want it, but we can move it later. Now to actually put the object into, to actually place it where you want it to, I think the easiest way I've found is to just hit Control and B, so hold them down, and then click where you want it. So I want it over here, I'll click there. Okay, so now that it's placed there, you can go around changing the attributes to it, because obviously I don't want it like that. I want to rotate it slightly so that it's, you know, sitting nicely around the edge of the steering wheel. So I do that by selecting it. There we go. Now you can use the axes around here to move them. So if you see the different coloured arrows, when you hover the mouse over them and then click and drag, you can move them along that axis. So you can move them up and down, left and right, forwards and backwards. And then these sort of arcs around the outside, they're the rotating axes, so you can spin them around like that, you can spin them up and down like that. So you've got unlimited control of how you want to do this. So basically just get it where you want it to, really, by using these. If you get to a point like that where you think it's on but you're not too sure, move around with the camera, and as you can see I was very far out. Oh, if I could get the camera to focus. Okay, so that's a little bit closer, I think. Maybe I want to rotate it that way a little bit. You can take ages actually getting these where you want them to, but don't worry if you don't get it first time. Oh, no. Okay, now that I've got that where I want it to, if I just saved this now and imported it, put it straight into the game, it wouldn't work. It wouldn't go around where the steering wheel is, because at the moment it doesn't recognise it as something that's added to the steering wheel. It recognises it as just something added to the vehicle, so like a static thing. So to make it recognise it as a thing on the steering wheel, and so that it wants to move with the steering wheel, we need to find where the steering base is. So if you can see here, this is the steering base, and we don't want to just stick it straight onto there. It needs to be inside the steering wheel bit here. So you know how I said if the object was outside the vehicle file, vehicle folder, so if it was over here, it wouldn't get recognised in the vehicle. Now it's pretty similar. If I just put this outside the steering base, the steering wheel folder, it wouldn't recognise it as something on the steering wheel. So as before, we just highlight the object, Control X, that cuts it, and then if I click on the steering wheel, which is where I want it, and then press Control V, it will paste it, and it should put it back in the same place. If it hasn't, oh, that's going to be a nightmare. And it hasn't, so you might have to place that again, for fuck's sake. 2 seconds, guys. Okay, so now that you've got that working again, if you go into the game, that should be working fine. Now, another thing that I'm going to add to this vehicle, I think, is a cool box. Now, this is a lot easier than the steering wheel because a steering knob, because it doesn't mean it isn't something that I have to make sure I put it in a specific place. So this one you can just go to import it. Again, make sure that it's inside the vehicle folder, otherwise it won't get recognized in the game. So Control X, click on the vehicle folder, Control V, and it appears in the bottom. And then I can go like that and put it. Now this is a bit big because obviously this is going to interfere with things and I can't just have that sitting there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scale it down a little bit so it's a little bit smaller. And for that I go over to the right hand side for onto these attributes here. And this is everything to do with the how big something is, how it's rotated, where it is positioned, and that kind of thing. So if you can see here, it says scale X, scale Y, scale Z. Obviously they're the three axes, and you can change how big it is. So I think I'm going to go for about 0.7, because at the moment it's at 100% scale at 1. So if I go for 0.7, that's 70% scale. So I think that's fine. So we'll just have a look, see if that's the size that I want it. Oh, not that. There we go. Yep, I think that's a reasonable size. Now on this object specifically, I know that there's a Fent logo on the other side, so I'm going to rotate it all the way around. There we go. Well, some logos anyway, wasn't the Fent one. Whoopsie. Oh well. Just position it where I want it to. Yeah, it's fine with me. Right, now for this next one, this is the air horn. Now, this one's a little bit difficult, but I'll show you how it works. You go to File, Import, and then back to the Tractor Edit Pack by Sander, and you go to air horn. Excuse me. Import the air horn i3D file. Again, make sure it's in the vehicle folder, so Control X, then click the vehicle, Control V to paste it, then Control B and click, and there you go, it's placed on there, fine. I think it's glitching into the top a little bit, so I'll move that upwards. There you go, that looks good. I'll place that there. Okay. Sorry guys, bit of a sore throat. Right, now this should be working fine. Okay. So as I said with the air horn, it's a little bit more difficult. So if you go into the folder of your mod, and then back into the Tractor Edit Pack, and to the README in English, which opens over here for some reason, this has a step-by-step thing of making the objects work, making the lights work, making the air horn work. Now, what you've got to do for that is go into the Mod XML file, which is just the name of your mod. And what you want to do, let me just see. Yeah, okay. You got to search for the honk sound sort of tag thing in there, and basically you want to change what file it plays. So it will play a file with a bigger sounding horn, a louder sounding horn. So for that, go back to the mod folder, which is this one, and now you need to open up the Mod XML file, which is this one, just the name of the mod.xml, not any of these ones. You don't want to mess with them just yet anyway. So open that one up, and as it said, find the honk sound. You could just do Control F and then find it, but I know where it is. Here it is. Okay, so this is the one we've got at the moment, which is just horn.wav. So I'll just highlight that to make sure I know where that is. If you go back to the README, it says replace that with file data vehicle shared horn big. Okay, so that's exactly what we're going to do. So if we highlight this and copy it, Control C. So what we want to do is highlight all this, do Control C to copy it, go into our mod folder. Now this is the file we want, the line that we want to replace. So it's already highlighted, we just need to do Control V and it'll paste it over the top. And if we save that now, it should save it in the correct place. Ta-da! Close all that. Come back into this mod folder, make sure we go back into the i3D file. Right, now I think that's all we need to do, so the horn now should work. And we've added the steering wheel and everything else. So if we place the camera back into the position that it was before, this isn't strictly necessary, but I should think you might want to do this. Put it about here, I think, something like that. Yeah. Okay, so then what we want to do is export all with files. Go back to the mod folder, highlight the i3D file and save it over the top. It says it already exists, you want to replace it, press yes. And then just save it just in case. And then I can close Giants Editor. Now this is another thing that you really need to make sure that you do. Because Farming Simulator, if you just put this mod folder right now, stuck it in the mods folder for Farming Simulator, it wouldn't work. You need to zip it up. Now when I say you need to zip the mod, the folder, you don't just do this, right click and zip. You need to go into the folder, highlight absolutely everything inside here, right click and then do add to archive. This is because I've got a program called WinRAR. I'd suggest that you download this. So now we do this and make sure that we put it as zip, so it's got the .zip at the end of the archive name. And then what it will do is install that like that. Sorry, so this is the file that we're going to be putting into our mod folder. I'll just open that up. Now there's my mod folder. Actually, let's put that like that and get my mod folder. There we go. Excuse me. So then this is my Case Puma 160 quad track. I'm pretty sure I already have the other one in here though. I'll just delete that one. Right, okay, there we go. So we get this and we just drag it over into the mods folder and it's now pasted it in here, as you can see. So now we're going to test it in the game. I'll see you in a minute. Okay guys, now that we're in game, I've just bought the tractor, the mod, and here it is. You can see that everything is put in there correctly, so we've got the air horn and it actually works. Listen. Oh, sorry. There you go. It works beautifully. And if we look inside, the cool box is there and the John Deere steering wheel is working with the steering knob on it. So yeah, that's how you import objects and put them in there. I think the next video, or a video coming up soon, I'll talk about textures and how to change the skin, the texture on the outside of a mod. But yeah, thank you very much for watching this video. More to come. See you guys.